Hey there, Fletch from All Things Overlanding here, and today I'm going to be talking about a couple of products from a company called Gooloo. The reason that I wanted to bring these products up and show them to you is because I talk a lot about budget-minded gear on my channel, and I feel like the Gooloo products are a good mix of quality while also having a really low price point for what you get. So again, I'm going to talk today about their AP150 tire inflator. It also does more stuff. I'm going to tell you all about that. And then their F1 Air Duster. This thing is really fun, really cool. And you may be wondering, what does that have to do with overlanding or camping? I use these things to stoke fires. So I use this to basically blast fires. If you're on dusty trails all day, you can use this to clean out your vehicle and stuff like that. So there's just a number of things you can use these things for. And this one has extra functions too. So again, I'm going to walk you through both these products today in this video. So if you're looking for, some budget-minded but good quality and pretty unique, I think, products from a company that doesn't charge you an arm and a leg, the Gooloo stuff is a good option. And again, I'm going to walk you through this stuff today. So let's talk about the F1 Air Duster and the AP150 tire inflator.
Understand where it came from, but you got it, I got it. It began in the land of the sandstorm. I fought it, though I wanted everything to do with what you give to me. Loosening my grip.
All right, guys. So as I mentioned in the intro, today I'm talking about a couple of products from a company called Gooloo. They make mostly air compressor type stuff, right? They make tire inflators, they make this air duster, they make a number of things like that. They also have some other sort of camping, overlanding themed products like power banks, solar, that kind of thing. So they're kind of in the electrical space, right? But again, focusing mostly on compressed air. So let's start with the F1 Air Duster, because I can already feel you guys in the comments saying, why do you need an air duster if you're camping? And there's a number of reasons. So I did the Wyoming backcountry discovery route a couple of years ago, and I have to say, even with my windows up, it was dusty as all get out. The inside of my truck was full of dust and stuff, but I had a similar one of these, but it wasn't as powerful as this or had as many features as this thing. And I would use it like every other day, probably, just to kind of blow the dust off my dash, make it so I could actually see my stereo and stuff, because there was just dust everywhere. If you're in like a drier climate and you have a lot of dust intrusion in your vehicle, then something like this can be nice just to kind of keep that clean. But that is not my primary function for this. The main reason that I carry an air duster, and I keep it in my truck all the time in my drawer system, is to stoke a fire. So when I start a fire at camp, especially when it's been raining or it's wet or it's snowy, I do a lot of winter camping and fall camping. It can be kind of hard to get that fire going. But if you get a couple little sticks going and stuff, we've all done it. We've blown on a fire, or you've picked up a piece of plastic or a cutting board and you waved it over the fire to try and stoke that fire and blow some air into it. These things do that, but to an extreme level. If you get a little air compressor thing like this, a little air duster, and you just aim that at the fire, that thing gets that fire going, and it will keep it going. It will stoke it and make it so that even with super wet wood or snowy wood or cold wood, it's gonna burn way better and way easier than blowing on it with your mouth and getting all worn out, right? Or again, waving something and flapping ashes everywhere. So I love these things for that. But so let's dive into the features of the F1 Air Duster. So let's start by talking a little bit about what comes with the air duster when you order it. So of course you get the main duster itself. It does come with this removable tip, but the cool thing about this is they're magnetic, which I love. I don't know why more haven't thought of that. They're always like the slide-on ones, and you use them 2 or 3 times and then the piece won't stay on there and you're dropping pieces, or you have to screw it on or something like that, but it's plastic on plastic and it just sort of falls apart. With this, it's just magnetic. You just kind of get it in place. It's got these 4 posts on the side there, so it kind of keeps it from sliding side to side, which is a really smart design. But as you can see, it just snaps right on there. I mean, when I pull the trigger on this thing, it actually pushes my hand back. Like, watch this. This thing spins at 160,000 revolutions per minute, which is insane to me. So you've probably seen these things. I've seen them on like TikTok and things like that, but this Gooloo one is really, really cool. So what else does it come with? Of course, you get a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, which I love because everything I have charges off USB-C. You also get another nozzle, this sort of like fine pointed nozzle here that again attaches magnetically. So you've got simple operation. You've got a little bit longer nozzle here, again, magnetic, and attaches really easily. And then the other thing that's really fascinating is you get, and these come apart, so for storage, if you want to store them separately, there's a long sort of suction tube and a filter. And at first I was like, wait, is this thing a vacuum too? And the cool thing is, it is. So check this out. What you do is you put this on the back of the unit, right? The part that's pulling the air in at 160,000 revolutions per minute. And this magnetizes to the back. And then guess what? Now this thing is a vacuum. So again, I love products where you get multiple features, multiple functions from it, because if I'm going to carry an air duster just to stoke fires, it does seem like a little bit of overkill, right? I use it enough that it makes sense for me. But if that was all that you were carrying this thing for, you know, it may not be worth the spend, right? It may not be worth the money. But the fact that then you can also attach this thing to the back and you can use it to sweep out your car. Now, is it going to replace your shop vac? No. But if you just needed to clean up a little mess, if you needed to get some dust or dirt or mud out of there, if you're a little OCD like I am with the inside of my car, the fact that, again, your air duster can turn into a vacuum is pretty freaking cool. So I love that. And it's also very simple. So if you use it, it's all going to hit that filter in there, right? And then you just dump the dust back out the other end when you're done. And then if you wanted to access the filter to kind of blow it out and clean it out, this end cap comes off, and then you can just pull this thing right out like that. I would use the duster itself to just blow it out from the inside to get all the dust out of the filter. Pop it back in there, put the end cap back on it, and you're good to go. Another thing that's really cool about this is that it does have a built-in flashlight on the bottom. And as you can see down here, there's also the USB-C charging point. And then this little button here is how you turn on the flashlight. And it's actually pretty bright. So for like around the fire and stuff, if you're using this, again, as a fire stoking device versus having to have your phone out with the flashlight on or holding a separate flashlight and then holding this thing, you could turn the light on. It's going to face down because you're holding it like this. And then you could use it to stoke the fire, and you could kind of see how the fire is doing, see around the fire so you don't trip. And it's just super heavy duty and high quality. This thing also fast charges in 3 hours, which is really cool. So if you use this thing at camp, I would just plug this into one of the USB ports in my truck and charge it up while I'm on the trails the next day, and then I'm good to go for the next night. It also lasts for a long time. I've had this thing for a couple weeks now. I've used it on about 3 or 4 fires, and I haven't even charged it yet. So they're really, really nice little air dusters. So now talking a little bit about the AP150. Let's start by what comes in the box, and then I'll dive into functionality and kind of show you it in action a little bit. So with it, of course, you get the main pump unit itself. You get this pretty nice little bag, but it's just kind of a plain Jane bag, right? But it is better than nothing. And then you can throw it in your drawers or under your seat or something like that, someplace in your truck to have as a nice backup. This thing will put out 150 PSI, which is really, really nice. So it says that it can air up a normal sort of car tire from 25 to 35 PSI in about a minute. But what I will say is, will this be the thing that I use to air up my big oversized tires on my truck after I, air down to go off-roading on a trail? No, this is going to be more of a backup. It's also a multifunctional unit, which I'll talk to you a little bit more about here in a second. So having something like this in like my wife's car as a backup, or even in my car, just as a just in case, right? If my main compressor fails, or if I forget it, which happens a lot, this thing's tiny, right? Like it fits in the palm of my hand. Throwing it in this bag and throwing it under my driver's seat just to have as a backup is really, really nice. This thing has a ton of features too for how little it is and how inexpensive it is. This thing actually comes in at under $60. The air duster is about $75, so it's actually a little bit more expensive than this air pump. But again, I'm going to show you all these features on this thing in a second. It is really well designed and has a ton of cool stuff. But so you get the pump itself, you get a tire inflator, plus the bag I mentioned already. But this thing just screws down into the top right there, which is pretty nice. And similar to the air duster, it also has a flashlight on it as well if you needed one. So it serves a couple of purposes. Now down here on the bottom, you'll see this sort of cover. This is where the USB-C for charging is housed. So the other thing is you can use it as a power bank because it also has a USB-A. So if you needed to charge your phone or something like that, you could use this as a small battery backup as well. So in addition to the tire inflating tube, you also get a number of other attachments, things for like airing up a basketball, soccer ball, little air pump type things, just a bunch of different attachments, which I really like that because more often than not, I will go out to like a kid's sporting event or something and they'll say, hey, I need air in my basketball or I need air in my soccer ball. And with my big double compressor, I don't even have a tip for that, and it's too powerful. I don't have a way to air up stuff. But again, having something like this is that they can serve as a backup battery, as a flashlight, as a tire inflator, as a basketball inflator that's this small and can be kept somewhere really easily accessible, makes it really valuable. Now, of course, you also get a similar USB-A to USB-C charging cord. I do not believe that you can use this while it is charging, but it only takes a few hours to charge this one up too. So when I keep something like this in my vehicle, I generally check it about every 3 months. So I just have like a recurring reminder on my calendar that says check batteries in truck. And then I'll check all my stuff. I'll charge everything up. I'll just make sure that it's all topped off, but it holds a charge for a really long time. You don't really have to worry about it too much. All right, so that is the AP150 and everything that comes with it. Now let's talk a little bit about functionality because this thing is really feature packed and it's actually really cool. So if you hold the power button here for a few seconds, you're going to see your battery status come up. And then after you hold it for a few seconds, all this other stuff comes up. And if you can see there, it's got these different sort of modes. And if you hit this little cycle mode button here, you can see it changing. So like right now it's on car, right? The thing that I really like is they color code it. So as you change these options, at a glance, you can tell what setting you're on, right? So right now we're on a car. You could do motorcycle tires, it changes to blue. You could do a bicycle tire, changes to a light blue. You could do like sports balls, changes to yellow. And then that final mode there is what they call custom mode. And it basically sets it to 20 PSI as the default, but you can customize that. So the cool thing is it actually will adjust your maximum PSI, and it has auto shut off too. So if you set your PSI to, this defaults for the vehicle to 36 PSI. So if you are airing up your tires, you just turn it on and let it go and it'll shut itself off when it hits 36 PSI. Then you can move it to the next tire. Same thing, just let it go. Now, I also like that they do show you the PSI down here on the bottom. So I love that it has all that information on this big, nice, easy to read screen. I mean, it's bright daylight out here and you can still read that screen really well. It's really easy to see what you're looking at. Now to control the flashlight, you've got this light button down here. You hold that for a second, it will beep and the flashlight will come on. Turn it off, same thing. Hold it for a few seconds, it goes off. Of course, if you wanted to adjust the pressure, you can just hit the positive, minus. You can set it to whatever you want. And again, once you hit the power button, it's going to start. And then it's going to go until you turn it off or until it hits that target pressure, which is awesome. All right, guys, so to kind of wrap this video up, like I mentioned, I just wanted to bring a couple of these products to your attention because we're all looking for like good quality, nice stuff that's not $1 million, right? So again, for about 75 bucks, they've got this really super nice air duster / vacuum, which is just a really nice air duster. If you're looking for something like that for fires and things like that, this would be great. And then the AP150 tire inflator is just a great option as a backup. Now, again, I'm not going to use it necessarily to air up my 33-inch tires from, 12 or 15 PSI up to 35 because I'll probably burn out the battery before then. But as a backup, as something to have on my vehicle all the time, if my wife calls me and says, hey, I'm at the store and I have a flat tire, I can run out there, hook this thing up, and it's way simpler than bringing, alligator clips out and my big old double compressor and all that stuff to try and air up a tire from, 25 to 35 PSI, right? I can just hook this thing up in about a minute. It's going to air it all up. Again, you could keep this in the car. I mean, this thing is under 60 bucks. So for the price, something like this just as a backup is really nice to have in all your vehicles. Basically, that's what I'm going to do. So anyways, just wanted to share those products with you. I hope that was helpful. If you're looking for kind of some budget-minded ideas for compressed air products that, would be a good fit and be a nice backup to have in your vehicle. So I'll also put a coupon code down there that should save you some extra money, so make sure to use that. Of course, as always, there will be links to all my social channels down below. There's also a join button below this video, which is just kind of a passive way to support the channel, and it gets you early access to the videos. There's also a link to my website where I've got funny overlanding camping themed patches and stickers. So if you're into that kind of stuff, if you want something for your headliner or to slap on a fridge or a window, something like that, check those out. There's some funny ones like Don't Burn Your Wiener and It's a Hot Dog, or I Hate People So I Camp. And there's also all things overlanding merch in there as well. And then, of course, if you want a more active way to be involved in the channel, there is a link to my Patreon page where we've got a ton of awesome people in it. We chat via 24/7 Discord all the time. We have a Zoom call once a month, and then we get together once or twice a year to just try and sit around a campfire and hang out. So if that sounds good, check out the Patreon group. And again, check out the products through the links down below. So that'll do it for the Gooloo F1 Duster and AP150 tire inflator. If it was helpful, click that like button. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future content. And thanks for watching.